Welcome back to Helping Families Go Beyond, the podcast by Beyond the Spectrum. I'm your host, Loryn Carpenter, in person again, and I am very excited for today's special Valentine's edition episode, where we are going to be sitting down with Miss Ariana McDaniels, our lead Hive vocational coordinator. She sees a lot of relationship dynamics back with her adult crew, and so I thought it would be an interesting idea to sit down and do a special Valentine's themed edition of dating, relationships, and connections on the spectrum, what that might look like for people who are starting to get interested in those things, and how caregivers can help them safely navigate those new relationships. And so we're excited to sit down and learn more from her today. And before we get into that, I just have a few shout outs about things that are happening around here on campus and beyond. And so I just want to do a big thank you to both the Michael Saunders Foundation and the Women's Giving Circle of the Lake Club for giving us grants. Over the past couple of months, we've been super appreciative to receive their support, and we're so excited to strengthen our mission and further serve our students with their funds, so we're super appreciative. And I also just want to introduce our monthly character trait that we share with all of our families, and so we usually send that home in newsletters and we put it on our website, and so I figured why not mention it on the podcast too for our listeners, just to give you an idea of what we focus on. And so what we usually do is we'll take a character trait and we'll try and focus some class lessons around it and activities, and then we always encourage families to practice them at home. And so this month's trait is patience. And so that is remaining calm during delays or challenging situations. So we're just encouraging families to practice patience at home. And just before we get started, in a couple of months, we're going to be doing our Giving Challenge. Our 2026 Giving Challenge is coming up in April. Just wanted to give everyone a heads up that is coming. You're probably going to start seeing that on our social media. We're going to start boosting that information out, but it is one of the biggest days of giving for nonprofits in this region, and it's such a day of generosity and philanthropy, and we're excited to be a part of it. So it's going to be an amazing time for all the nonprofits. It's going to be great. Something else worth mentioning about the Giving Challenge that's coming up in April is that donations up to $100 are matched by the Patterson Foundation. And so that is a very generous opportunity, and we are very appreciative to receive that kind of support from our community. So just something to keep in mind in the next couple of months when you're doing your giving and when you're thinking of nonprofits to support. Think about Beyond the Spectrum. So we're here and we're excited to participate. And without further ado, let's sit down with Miss Ariana. All right, well, thank you for joining us today, Ariana. I'm excited to get into this episode with you, and I just thought you'd be the perfect person to talk to about this stuff, just because I feel like we naturally just talk about whatever.
Yeah.
And then I also feel like you see a lot of this stuff back with your learners in the Hive. I feel like this might be something that your group could learn from, and this might be information that would help them out.
Yeah, definitely.
And so, I'm excited for this episode. But so I wanted to kind of start off just asking about, what love and friendship and attraction and connection, what that kind of looks like for people on the spectrum or for people who are neurodivergent. And so, what do you think that kind of looks like in general, would you say?
I think love, especially like romantic or just any type of relationship when it comes to the spectrum, people on the spectrum, it's going to look different for everybody, because just like how we individualize lessons, we individualize experiences, and depending on that person, what they are, what they're interested in for love, for friendship, it could just be companionship. It could be something more romantic. It could be whatever they're looking for. But we are all people looking for connection. So, I think it looks pretty similar to how it is for any neurotypical person. So just making sure that they're supported and feel safe and loved is what everybody wants.
Yeah, definitely. That's something we all, like you mentioned, that's something we all experience.
Yeah.
And so I think it's something that I think not a lot of people talk about. I think it might feel kind of taboo to people. Just the idea that people on the spectrum, people that are neurodivergent, that they can experience those feelings and they can find relationships. I know it's like people kind of don't want to think about that. And so I know that's something that comes up a lot in society.
And it's hard too because a lot of folks on the spectrum are infantilized,
Yeah, that's the word.
Yes, infantilized look like, they like things that kids typically like. And so that kind of gives them this, maybe not a stereotype, but like kind of like a stigma that, like I'm a kid, so I don't like those grown-up things, but that's not necessarily the case always. So that's kind of hard to navigate too, because you see your loved one as a little kid, and sometimes they grow up.
No, definitely. I remember, it's funny, I actually remember one of the first times that I kind of noticed that in Scotty was we were at my high school orientation, and we were walking around to my classes, and there was a group of cheerleaders that walked by. And so, Scotty had never really paid any mind to them, but that day, I watched him kind of turn his head a little bit, and he goes, "Hey, girls." And it was so quiet, it went so unnoticed, but it was just this real subtle, like, "Hey, girls." And they kind of were like, they didn't know who said it. They were like, hey. But I just remember in that moment being like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and that's a big thing too, like with the media. Like, where did you learn that? Hey, girls. You know? Like, you probably saw it on TV, you know? Like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do. So it's interesting, like what they pick up on.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, I wonder, like, how he came up with that. That was going to be his tagline, "Hey, girls."
Yep.
Like,
yeah.
There was, he used to listen to some interesting music, so.
Maybe that's it.
That could be, yeah. He went through a Pussycat Dolls phase.
Okay.
So all of his sassiness, I think, came from that.
I respect that.
Yeah. So it's something different every day. Always learning about him.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, right? Yeah. But so when we have people on the spectrum, people that are neurodivergent, when they are, starting out with these feelings, when they are thinking that they're having these feelings about people, if they're wanting to connect maybe on a different level with somebody, what could that be? What does that kind of look like for them? Do you know, like, what that might look like, or how they might experience those emotions, how they might process those feelings?
I think what's difficult, like, when everyone's experiencing, like, puberty or changing in your body, it's weird, and we're all feeling like, what the heck is happening? So imagining that feeling for someone who maybe doesn't have the communication to say or understand completely what's going on with their body. So it's kind of scary, and you don't know what's going on, especially when your body's changing. And then you do have feelings about other people. You don't know what those functions are. That's why I think it's really important to have open dialogue about it with caretakers and say, hey, like, I am feeling this, and this is happening, and I don't know, my body's changing, it looks weird, there's hair there, this is growing, I don't know what's going on. And so they feel comfortable to talk to you about it. But I mean, it's all scary for everyone.
It is. Yeah.
It's weird.
Totally. Yeah, it's like, what's going on? It's total change.
And then you see people differently, and you know certain attractions when you're younger, and then getting older and seeing it in the media and like, oh, maybe I do like that, or maybe that's interesting, I kind of want to try that. But being encouraged to be able to explore it and talk about it is big.
Yeah. I often wonder what they think maybe when they see other people in relationships, when they see other people maybe like actively dating or getting engaged, getting married. I wonder like what goes through their minds when they see that happening, like how they process that. Because I know it can be different for everybody, and I know you have some learners back in your group that they've got goals, they want to get married, and then there's some that it might not even be on their radar.
Right, and that's like depending on the individual and what they're seeking, what exactly they like about that. If they're seeing somebody kissing, why do they want that? Is it just because it's interesting? Is it because everybody else has it? Yeah. Is it because I see it in all the movies and everyone does it, so like I want to try, you know? But just kind of like having that dialogue, having that conversation, like, oh, you're feeling that way? Maybe why? What's going on? Yeah. Or you're not interested? That's okay too. Full support. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. It would just to like be in like the hive's minds for like 20 minutes. And what's so funny is it's like we're dating, and then we're dating somebody else the next week, and then it's like quick, and there's always drama, there's always something going on. Interesting. But so it's a good opportunity to kind of talk through those things, like, well, you don't feel that way? How's a nice way to tell her that? And what's, it's a lot of opportunity for learning because
yeah,
there's always drama.
Yeah, interesting. It's like a soap opera.
It is a soap opera, yeah.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I need to sit back there and
just observe. You'll be like, they're together.
Oh, they're throwing drinks at each other.
Whoa. Yeah.
It's getting serious.
Oh my gosh.
That's funny. Mm-hmm. So my next question that I have for you is, I know something that could maybe come up, well, and I think even beyond dating and beyond relationships is just the idea that people mask and people might feel the need to kind of conform to like what's being told to them, what's being asked of them. And so that can kind of run into some issues when you're dating if you feel like you're maybe masking or not being honest with yourself about what you want, or if you're, conforming to what you think the other person wants. And I know that's something that neurotypical people struggle with. And so is there any kind of ways that maybe people that are on the spectrum that they can navigate those feelings or identify like what's going on? Because I know those dynamics might be kind of hard to find and to decipher when that's all happening.
And thinking about like all relationships and how much you have to put into it, and how many demands when it comes to like texting, even like current dating, texting, like what am I have to say back to this person, that back and forth, how you build a relationship. That's a big demand for someone on the spectrum, or even sensory. Like if you think about hugging and kissing, sometimes we don't like that, but we still want to hold hands, and that's okay too. But kind of like just like the social cues and talking through them. And I think the best thing too, I mean, I identify as neurodivergent myself. I have ADHD. And a big thing for me in my relationships has been really communicating my boundaries. And a lot of those social things like time, dates, being on time for a date, texting back, and all these like expectations that come with dating are really challenging because of my own executive function challenges. What's beneficial is finding someone who you can unmask with, who you can take that social expectation away and just be yourself with. That's ideally what you want for any neurodivergent person, is just like mutual respect and care. And I can be stupid and loud and crazy at home, which I don't do at school, but like I can do at home and nobody's gonna judge, and I can take that mask off and feel loved and supported without having to keep it all together all the time, which is exhausting too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm definitely, neurodivergent. I think just naturally. Naturally, I look at my family tree and I don't think I missed
so
anything.
far. I think the same thing. I look at my dad, I'm like, yeah, that garage looks like my closet. I can see it.
Yeah, it's funny, my dad has told stories about my great-grandfather, and how he would measure everything out in the fridge an inch apart. And so that was so everything could get equally refrigerated. Wow. And then he would measure the front yard with a ruler and cut down the blades of grass with scissors. So I look at Scotty now, who arranges all of my shoes, and I'm like, okay, there it is.
There it is.
Yep.
Popped right out.
There's the Carpenter gene. Got it.
Nice. So, hey, that's great.
Yeah.
And that's great too, because then with your family, you don't have to wear a mask because everyone's doing the same stuff.
We're all just doing our own.
We're all just doing random stuff. So
we're all organizing behind each other.
There you go.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's I always think of that as Scotty's love language. It's kind of like an acts of service type of thing where here, I'll help you carry everything. And so I think that is something that maybe people on the spectrum or people who are neurodivergent, that could definitely be a sign of showing that they care. Yeah. So here, let me do everything for you.
And there are some like specifics to like how neurodivergent people show that they care. My favorite, they call it penguin pebbling.
Okay.
So like, you know how penguins bring a little pebble to their mate, and they're like, hi, I brought you this rock for our nest, and I love you, and here you go. So they like adapted that, and they call it like penguin pebbling, like where neurodivergent people will bring like a little trinket or a little magnet, like, oh, I thought of you, or I picked up this rock because I love you. And I just think that's so cute. And I see it all the time with my students. Bring me a little flower, bring me a little something.
Aww.
And it just means like, hey, I was thinking about you. And I think it's really consistent in our community, and I love it. I've seen it all the time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Who wouldn't want to get pebbled? That's
I want pebbles, yeah.
Right? Yeah, give me all the pebbles. I know something else that I also wanted to talk about, and it's kind of in the same field as like what we were talking about earlier, where we feel like maybe we're masking or conforming, but like what consent would look like.
Yeah.
For people who are neurodivergent and how they can express those things in a way that feels safe to them.
Yeah, that's a big one for me because especially with clients who have higher support needs, who need a little bit more support when it comes to communication and things like that, just helping them understand what is acceptable and what's not, and when it's okay, who's allowed to touch you certain places, doctor, mom, dad, whatever. Even that can get a little weird, but I mean, just making sure you're having those conversations. And consent, always, if there's no answer, that means no. I always say no answer. Unless you get a clear yes, then yes. But it has to be laid out very literally for our population too.
Yeah.
Very like direct, no like beating around the bush, any metaphors, just be very direct. If you want to, yes. If you don't want to, no. That's very clear. Yeah. Clear is kind. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's something everybody could learn from.
Yeah, agreed.
So yeah, and when these feelings and when these relationships start to develop for this community, is there what kind of roles could parents and caregivers kind of take on as they're helping them navigate these feelings and as they grow up and they start to explore these new interests? What should matter the most in a parent's tone or the things that they're kind of relaying to their child?
Yeah, I think biggest thing is safety. Safety is the biggest thing. Like, I just want to make sure that you're okay. Make sure that's clear that you want to take care of your loved one, and that there is a dialogue. And I think a lot around just in general dating and sex and things like that, there's a lot of shame around it, and a lot of times if somebody on the spectrum or has some type of neurodivergence explores that and they are shamed for it, that's where it gets to be unsafe and scary, because then they have that connection with intimacy or sex or whatever, that it's not okay or that they shouldn't be able to experience it. But that's not necessarily the case. So I think just support, open communication, no shame, no judgment is a big part of it. That's the best thing you can do as a caregiver in that situation. And match their speed. If they are saying, hey, I just want to go bowling with my friend and we're just going to hold hands, cool, supportive. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen, I'm sure you've seen Love on the Spectrum.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. Yeah.
And you know where Madison and her boyfriend are kissing on the couch and the parents are like watching and they're like, oh, but they're like, we support you. I think it's a good example. Like, of course they want her to experience those things and they want her to, do that. Of course it's weird watching your kid do that, but they were there and supportive and, they were like, hey, like if anything happens, at least you're safe and you can experience it appropriately. And I think that's a good example. The biggest thing I think there is just your support system. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Making sure everybody is, who cares about you is looking out for you in that way. So, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was going to bring up Love on the Spectrum because I think that's good for anybody to watch. Yeah. Just to get an idea of like what goes through their minds and how they pursue people and how they interact with one another. Yeah. And just the relationships that they form with each other, how meaningful those are. And it takes a lot of stigma away from it too, of like they are looking for these connections, and how they're dating is very similar to how we date. And also like navigating online dating. There's so many choices. Where do I go? How do I talk to these people? It's changed a lot. So that's a lot to navigate too. That's true. Yeah. I didn't even, when I was putting this together, I didn't even think about online dating, but I mean, that's how you meet pretty much everyone nowadays. Yeah, or social media. So like media literacy, making sure, especially like our more vulnerable population, don't talk to scary people online. And sometimes we want attention, but that's not the kind of attention that we want.
Right.
So just to still be talking about it, online safety, all that stuff, because people are out there and they want to talk to you.
Yeah.
But you have to talk to the right people that are looking out for you.
Yeah, definitely. Because I've seen some stories online of people with siblings who are neurodivergent and finding them in situations where they're talking to these people online that are asking for lots of money or pushing lots of boundaries. And,
yes, or pictures and things like that that are just inappropriate, not okay. But they need to know about it. If they don't know about it, then they won't know that it's not okay.
Right. Yeah.
So trying to shield them from it might not be the best situation, depending on what their interest is in it, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even think about online, and then even with AI too.
Yeah.
Because we had an episode on AI.
Yeah, we did.
And now it's coming back.
And some people are getting trapped by AI people on online dating.
Yes.
And I can see somebody getting, taken advantage of that way, and that sucks. So hopefully that, is not more of a thing.
Right. Yeah. I've definitely seen some, not so great things where people think they're dating a person and it's
or like
an AI bot.
a character or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. We talked about that.
Yeah. So it's good that they have those conversations with caregivers and teachers to kind of steer them in the right direction. Like, no, Daenerys from Game of Thrones is not talking to you.
He's not, and I'm sorry, but maybe you could talk to someone else.
Yeah, your friend is right over there.
Yeah.
But that's good, just having that open dialogue with them.
Yeah, and also too, just interacting with other neurodivergent people in your community, and especially if you have a loved one who is neurodivergent, introducing them to other people in the area that have their same interests or like to do the same things, and then that's how they could probably, find more appropriate partners as opposed to Game of Thrones characters online.
Yeah.
So.
That's great. Or this, completely blank profile from Kentucky.
Yeah, probably not.
Maybe not your soulmate.
Maybe not, but that's okay. Yeah,
that's all right. We'll give it another try.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so we've kind of talked about creating safe spaces for having conversations at home about these kinds of things. And I guess on the flip side would be maybe if someone neurodivergent is experiencing rejection or a breakup to some degree, just what could that look like for them, or how could they process that in a way that feels right, and appropriate?
A really common thing for neurodivergent people is rejection sensitivity dysphoria. I've experienced it myself, where it's kind of just like you perceive that this is a more extreme rejection than it is. Or a lot of people who are neurodivergent have experienced a lot of shame in their life. So when they do have that, it kind of brings back almost a PTSD situation.
Okay.
Kind of like, oh my gosh, they don't like me or whatever, because I have felt so ostracized my whole life. But I think it's a part of building resilience and building, good character. If you can work through a rejection, a breakup with your loved one, I think that builds character and builds maturity and is part of life. And we all go through it. So I think if you can be there and supportive, don't try to avoid it. If it happens, feel through it and then move on.
Yeah, definitely, because you have to process those kinds of things. And I know, especially with all of the kind of like the sensory issues that some of our learners might have, I know that can kind of look different. It might take longer, or they might feel fine and then weeks later feel really awful again about it. And so I know it looks different on everybody. So
or how you're feeling, how you feel that day, what's going on in your life.
Yeah. And I know, it can be hard for them to just, especially if it's something that seemed like it was going well, and then it could totally surprise them. I know, I mean, with us too. Yeah. I mean, it can be devastating, so.
And sometimes I get stuck in like, you have, especially when it comes to like ADHD, dopamine, if that person is providing dopamine, then you're like, oh my gosh, now I don't have my dopamine fix, so what am I doing?
Yeah.
I'm upset and I'm sad and I don't know what to do. So it feels bigger than maybe other people might experience it, but I don't know. I can't say.
Right. Yeah. I know something that I've seen online a lot is limerence.
Limerence, yeah.
So do you know anything, like, can you elaborate on limerence a little bit?
Yeah, limerence more of like this, I know limerence and anxious attachment kind of get mixed up, but limerence is kind of like, I see it as like I get hyperfixated on like an activity. Like I'm really excited about knitting and I get all the yarn and the needles and I'm like, I love knitting and I'm obsessed with it. And like I'm in limerence with knitting because I have romanticized this idea that I will be this sweater knitter and make all these blankets and do all these things. And then I realize that's not realistic. But that limerence time period is when I'm like, oh my gosh. But that can happen with people too. Okay. So you kind of meet someone and you're like, oh my gosh, I can see a life with them. I can be with them. I can do all these things. And then you're like, oh, I don't know. Maybe that's not the best situation. Like, hey. Hold on. Yeah. But the limerence part is that like, I am obsessed with you. And it feels like love and it feels like it's forever, but it's just kind of, you're a little obsessed with them in the beginning. That's kind of, it feels good, but also can be unhealthy if you don't clock it the right way.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm just now like thinking of this, but do you have any idea of any kinds of red flags that maybe caregivers or individuals can be on the lookout if they are interested in a partner or connections with people? Would there be any things that they could look out for that might be like, hey, not the best move, not the best person for you? Like any sort of red flags or anything that might indicate not a great relationship? I mean, and that can apply to anybody, really.
It could, yeah. So, it's just like safety, trust, make sure you're not pressured into anything. Any typical red flags. I think mostly it's just about comfort and support. And if that's not there, then bye. Right, yeah. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. It's like, if I don't feel safe with you...
Yeah, you're out.
Yeah, you're out. Bye. And so that also kind of brings me into maybe some of the strengths that can be found in neurodiverse relationships. Because when we watch Love on the Spectrum, we can see how when they find a common interest or when they find a common ground to relate to each other on, just how they kind of become each other's person.
Yeah.
And it's like they just do everything together and it becomes such a cute partnership. And so I was like wondering what kind of strengths you might be able to see in a relationship where there's people that are neurodivergent together.
What I
or
love...
not together. And either way.
Yeah, and in friendships too.
Yeah.
It's just a different... I like to talk about it as like, I don't like small talk. No. I like deep conversations. So small talk, I'm like, oh my gosh, boring, So I feel like there's this like level of authenticity and more deeper connection that a lot of other people don't necessarily, who are dating neurotypically, they're kind of playing those dating games and they're doing that weird, I don't know, he said, she said, did I call her? But sometimes with neurodivergence, there's this directness and there's this like, I say what I mean and I mean what I say. And sometimes that is great in a relationship. And also things like parallel play where you can do something in the same room together but not have to talk, and there's not that expectation of communication, but you're still enjoying each other's company without having to like, hey, have to talk. We're like, I'm gonna draw over here, and you're gonna go play video games over there, and like we're still spending time together, and that's a different type of, neurodivergent love too. And then also too, I think with that too, like, support swapping, you see this connection, but they have this understanding of sometimes the struggles that they've experienced. So let's say like I had a really bad day and everybody was really social and I'm really annoyed and I just want to shut down, so my partner can take over some of that stuff. And that can happen in any on any spectrum of a relationship with any person. Like, hey, you had a bad day, I can be extra, do this, or I had a good day, I can help do this. And a lot of those extra challenges you experience through the day can have support through your partner, but respectfully too. So yeah, I like that.
I think this is just such an important conversation to have.
Yeah.
And it's something that's not discussed often.
No.
And so I think it's just so important that people that are neurodiverse, people that are on the spectrum have that dignity and that they feel comfortable pursuing relationships in a way that's comfortable to them.
Absolutely, yeah.
And just making sure that they find their person and that they don't get caught maybe in a situation where they feel unaccepted or they start masking or conforming in a way that's kind of going against their nature.
Right. And I think a lot of us can learn from that too, like what is expected. I need to get married. I need to have kids. I need to, you know, there's this like schedule. It doesn't all have to look that way. It can be however is comfortable for you, for your family, for whatever you've got going on. So I think a lot of us get stuck in that, like, I need to do this. I need to have a girlfriend. I need to whatever. But we don't. Do what you want.
Right, yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
As long as everyone's safe and happy,
yeah, exactly.
can look however you want it to.
Right. And like you mentioned, having the strengths of a neurodiverse relationship, how there's, you know, people that play the dating game.
Yeah.
And just how ridiculous that can get. Where if I wait 8 minutes to text back, then I'll seem cool. Like
or I'll wait till tomorrow so he doesn't think I'm too eager.
And
like,
I just feel
God.
like I feel like you wouldn't get any of that if you had someone that was just straightforward.
Like, hey, I like you. I want to be with you. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Me too.
Because there's so many formalities and there's so many unspoken rules with neurotypical.
So much social expectations. So many social expectations that are hard and annoying. And a lot of people don't like anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it can look different. It look like however you want.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, that's the really cool thing about it. But yeah, so I appreciate you sitting down with us and taking time from the Hive crew to just come and enlighten us and just have this conversation, because I think it's important for everyone to hear.
Yeah, it was fun talking to you about it. We'll talk more about it.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we'll just start a whole series.
Yeah, it's great. I love
Cool.
it. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you for joining us. This is going to be really great for our families. Thank you so much for joining us here today at Helping Families Go Beyond, the podcast by Beyond the Spectrum. For more resources or information, visit our website at beyondthespectrum.org.